Let us now open the records of the Third Age and turn our minds to a matter of great and terrible weight. For it is told that in the quiet of a hobbit hole the long shadow of history fell, and the very fate of the world pivoted upon a conversation held by a simple hearth fire.
What followed that return was not merely a talk between old friends, but the moment when the lore of ages was at last laid bare, and a burden passed to the most unlikely of hands. Here, then, is the record of that revelation.
But this dread revelation did not come swiftly. No, it was born of a long and unnerving silence. 17 years of unknowing peace for the new ring-bearer, and 17 years of fearful, desperate searching for the wizard.
For 17 years after Bilbo Baggins departed the Shire, the ring lay quiet, held in the keeping of his heir. And for all those long years, Gandalf the Grey, whom the elves name Mithrandir, wandered the wide and weary roads of Middle-earth, hunting for answers to a suspicion that had taken deep root in his heart.
This grave counsel was given 17 years before his final return. It reveals that the wizard's fear was no sudden thing, but a seed of doubt that required those long years to grow into a terrible certainty. He would not speak of such a shadow until he knew the truth beyond any and all question.
To find this certainty, the wizard forsook the path of wanderer and became a lore master. He journeyed south to the White City of Minas Tirith, the Tower of Guard, to delve into the deepest archives of the kings of Gondor. Amongst countless scrolls of lore and lineage, he sought a specific record, one concerning the enemy's fall at the very end of the Second Age. And there he found the first crucial piece of evidence, a testament written by the hand of Isildur, son of Elendil himself.
Isildur's own words provided the key. He described how the ring, taken hot from the very hand of Sauron, bore a fiery inscription that faded as it cooled. Here was the test. A simple hobbit's trinket was now, for the first time, linked directly to the Dark Lord's great defeat.
And yet, how had it traveled from the hand of a high king to the pocket of a hobbit? The answer to that lay with a wretched, ancient creature named Gollum. For years, Mithrandir and Aragorn hunted him through the wilds. When at last he was taken, his tortured confession bridged the millennia. He spoke of the murder of his kinsman Diagal, of his long hiding deep beneath the mountains, and of a thief named Baggins who stole his precious.
With the ancient lore from Isildur's scrawl and the dark history from Gollum's tale, all the pieces were at last in place. One final dreadful test remained, and it was to be performed in the quiet of Bag End.
Mere suspicion was not enough. Before laying such a terrible burden upon Frodo, Mithrandir had to possess a certainty beyond all shadow of a doubt. He had to witness the proof with his own eyes.
And so he bade Frodo cast the ring into the heart of the fire. When it was drawn forth, it was not even warm to the touch, a mark of its otherworldly craft. And then, as it lay upon the table, an inscription bloomed upon its golden surface like embers, a writing of fire and shadow.
These are the words of the black speech of Mordor, a tongue of pure malice that the wizard would not dare utter aloud in the peaceful Shire. It is the master spell of the ring, its very purpose and its poison. One ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. To truly understand the ring's nature, one must look back into the deep past, first to its forging in the Second Age and to the pride of the elven smiths of Irigian. But the desire that allowed for its very creation has an even deeper, more sorrowful root in the First Age of the world.
Sauron came among the elves in a fair guise, calling himself Anatar, the Lord of Gifts. He shared his vast knowledge, and under his tutelage, the 7 rings of the dwarves and the 9 of men were forged. But the 3 great elven rings, Nadia, Nenya, and Vilya, were made by Celebrimbor alone, and Sauron's hand never touched them.
The motives of the smiths were tragically, fatally different. The elves sought to preserve the beauty of a fading world, but Sauron sought only one thing: dominion. And so in secret, in the fires of Orodruin, he forged a master ring, pouring his own malice and his will to dominate all life into the molten gold.
And what of Celebrimbor, the greatest of the smiths? It is recorded that he was none other than the grandson of Fëanor, the maker of the Silmarils. In Celebrimbor's ambition, we hear a sorrowful echo of his grandfather's terrible oath from the First Age, a prideful, burning desire to create and possess things of unsurpassed and perilous power.
And so, from this deep lore of ages, the conversation by the fire then turned to the moral heart of the matter. For it is here, in the exchange between hobbit and wizard, that the true meaning of these great events is made plain.
Upon learning that Gollum, the murderer, the thief, still lived, Frodo reacted with a fear and revulsion that any would find just and reasonable. He saw only a monster that should have been destroyed long ago.
But Mithrandir's reply reveals a deeper and more profound truth. He explained that Bilbo's simple act of mercy was, in fact, a shield. The ring rewards the will to power, and pity is its antithesis. That single act of grace protected Bilbo from the ring's full corruption and allowed him, alone in all its history, to give it up willingly.
His counsel went deeper still. It is a warning against the finality of mortal judgment, and a recognition that even the most wicked may yet have a part to play that is unseen, even by the wise, a prophecy which, in the end, would prove the salvation of all.
And here, Mithrandir hints at a higher power, a providence shaping events toward a good end. The ring's own treachery in abandoning Gollum was met by Bilbo's pity. This was no chance meeting in the dark, it was meant to be.
And thus, the entire weight of this ancient history of the pride of elves and the malice of Sauron came at last to settle upon the shoulders of one simple hobbit from the Shire.
Frodo's lament is the cry of all who are born into dark days. But the wizard's counsel is timeless. Our duty is not to choose the age into which we are born, but to answer the call of that age with whatever strength we have.
For in the end, the fate of Middle-earth came to rest not with the wise or the powerful, for they could not bear the ring's ultimate temptation. It fell to the humble, the overlooked, whose greatest strength was their lack of desire for the very power the enemy offered. In that quiet hobbit hole, the quest truly began, not with the drawing of a sword, but with a simple choice.